Ever since the time skip, Oda has been selectively introducing strong top tier characters like Prince Loki from Elbaf, and to me, this started with Admiral Fujitora and Dressrosa, who was definitely the strongest in that arc, and second was probably Adult Sabo, whose Haki and new Mare no Mi was a force to be reckoned with. And then there's the first Billion Berry bounty in Zoe, Jack the Mammoth, who kind of was a disappointment in the overall story, though he was strong. Then there's also Cracker, who lost some oral points after getting mopped by Aokiji, but of course his big brother Katakuri kind of saved his ass with that when it comes to Awakening. Future Sight conquers Haki. We could also point out Yamato, who's a mythical Zoan conquers Haki coding user who went against Kaido 1v1. But don't feel too bad for Kaido having Yamato switch up on him, because Kaido had Lunarian Ancient Zoan King and Scientist Ancient Zoan Queen to carry the load. And now we have Mr. Legendary Devil Fruit Loki, but we all know something is different about this giant. It's like Oda wants him to be top 10 in the final saga, but for that to happen, he needs a unique power. That's right, it's Conqueror's Haki coding, which, and if you don't remember during Wano, Kaido was pretty much telling us if you don't have Conqueror's Haki coding, you're not really on the top level of power scaling. And that's why we're doing a deep dive on Loki and Conqueror's Haki, and it's gonna be a good one. Now in the Elbaf arc, it's like they've been hyping up Loki the entire time, but nobody's really taking it serious. Like even recently, they said that Loki killed over hundreds of giant warriors, and his father, of course, who has ancient giant race blood inside of him, who ripped his own horns off and was extremely large character and strong character. Yeah, Loki beat that guy, and then he put legendary Ja Rule, a sword in his head. So yeah, Conqueror's Haki coding has to be the case when you're looking at Loki's power and abilities, because like, how can he do that without Conqueror's Haki coding? Like, just a regular giant. At this point, I don't think he has his Delph when he's doing this stuff, so it's insane. Now, a very controversial moment is when Gonko of the Holy Knights does this like left foot stomp with her arrow Delph Fruit, and then Loki says not again, and then of course another arrow goes up and Loki calls out the move like, oh, a left kick, and then an uppercut is going to be coming after that, and he says thanks for the heads up. Now Gonko explains her arrows and how like it determines the future, but she can still change the possible outcome. But all in all, like, people are like kind of confused here. Is it possibly Loki using future sight, or is it just her Delph Fruit ability? Loki got the hang of it because he's been getting his ass whipped by it. But Loki's confidence kind of looks like he is using future sight because he has no eyesight. So the fact that he has no eyesight, he can't see, is that pretty much saying his observation Haki is insane and he has future sight? Like, I just looked at it like that, but after rereading it, it is controversial. It could just be Gonko's Delph Fruit and we could be looking too deep into it. But if Loki has future sight and he has legendary Delph Fruit, and we already know all the hype things he's done, it's most likely he has Conqueror's Haki coding. And that big old giant with Conqueror's Haki coding, yeah, that's gonna be scary. Now, of course, Loki repeatedly declines joining the Holy Knights, and the fact that the Holy Knights want him is pretty much a testament to his power and ability, because that's like a very unique group of Celestial Dragons. So for them to want Loki says a lot. And then of course he tanks Gonko's attack that he pretty much called out. And honestly, the fact that they want him so badly, maybe Imu values him because his power is from the Void Century. Not only his Delph from the Void Century, maybe his blood is from the Void Century too. If you guys all know what I'm talking about. And I gotta give respect to Loki, even if you don't think he has Conqueror's Haki coding. This guy's about to tank a mythical Cerberus, three-headed dog swords style spinning twister, whatever you want to call it, that's eating his abdomen area. So yeah, he can defend himself. And Shamrock said, if you survive that, come and kill me. It's kind of like Oda's foreshadowing Loki versus Shamrock, because Loki has a little bit of animosity towards the Figureland family because of Shanks. Now, speaking of Loki's ancestor, I'm talking about, everyone knows I'm talking about that mural, chapter 1138, that famous mural that made the community go crazy, where it looks like we have Loki's ancestor alongside Joy Boy, and on top of Joy Boy there's a Lunarian, and below Joy Boy there's a Poseidon, and some really heavy hitters are fighting Imu the demon from the Void Century. And Loki has the same pattern that we see on the other side of the mural when it comes to that serpent. The serpent is a big deal when it comes to the first world. It was Imu, Nika, and the serpent. Those three are the biggest deals when it comes to Delph Fruit abilities, in my opinion. And so Loki having that design, maybe this is foreshadowing Loki having that legendary Delph Fruit that's been passed down in Elbaf. And that means he probably has the third most powerful Delph Fruit in the entire series behind Luffy and Imu. And that automatically makes him top tier, in my opinion. Now, the reason why I'm harping on this power Conqueror's Haki coding or advanced Conqueror's Haki, tell me in the comment section, what do you guys like to call it? Because I just call it Conqueror's Haki coding, but I do know that beginning when it first got revealed, it was advanced Conqueror's Haki, but it really doesn't matter what you call it. But yeah, the first time we ever see this is the Kaido doing it with his Thunder Bagua. When Luffy's coming off a category win, Kaido one-shots him with Kankazaki coating on his Thunder Bagua attack. Now, we didn't know it was Kankazaki coating, but the fact that Oda chose purposely to make Kaido the first guy to actually show Kankazaki coating. Kaido, there's a lot of theories with his horns. Is he related to the ancient giants, his Oni race? And we all know that Loki is kind of like similar in design as Kaido, if you guys do not see the recent volume cover. The next time Oda highlighted Kankazaki coating was an actual clash, and that was between the prime Pirate King and Goldie Roger and the world's strongest man in Whitebeard. And when they clash with Kankazaki coating, Whitebeard has a legendary Delphi when it comes to Garp no Mi, and he still uses Conqueror coating to clash with Roger, who Kaido already said that Haki transcends all at the end of his fight with Luffy. So it looks like Oda doesn't mind having guys with OP Delphi have Conqueror coating like Kaido, like Whitebeard. So we might see this is a good testament to Loki having Kankazaki coating to add on to his incredible Delta Fruit as well. Now this one is also very controversial because some people think there's not really a clear-cut Kankazaki coating hype in this, but Kuzuki Oden, his Paradise Totsuka that he uses the Scar Kaido. The reason why I think this is Kankazaki coating is because Kuzuki Oden was Kankazaki clashing with Whitebeard before he got stronger from his journey with Whitebeard and Roger, going to Laughdale and coming back. Oden got incredibly stronger after these moments, and Oden was seeing Whitebeard and Roger clash, their blades not touching, and he has Conqueror's Haki, and we know that Rayleigh and like probably Scopper, like these top tiers of the crew probably had it. So when he comes back to fight Kaido and he scars Kaido, we know that Kaido's only ever been scarred and damaged by, like actually severely damaged by Kankazaki coating. This kind of confirmed that Kuzuki Oden did have Kankazaki coating when he fought Kaido. Like, how do you beat Kaido, like beating Kaido without Kankazaki coating? It doesn't really make sense if you guys think about it. So Oden kind of is confirmed to have it, and he was in Kaido's top 5 for a reason. Now, another reason why I believe that Oden had it is because Zoro has it. Zoro used Ashura combined with Conqueror's Haki to actually scar Kaido. Now, he didn't take down Kaido because Zoro was kind of new to this ability, but the fact that Kaido admitted this is Conqueror's Haki shows that, yeah, to scar Kaido, you need to have that power. So Zoro and Oden kind of are similar in that sense. And also, you can look at Enma. Zoro, when he mastered Enma, was using King of Hell mode with Conqueror's Haki coating on his swords. And Oden mastered Enma relatively early. So, like, there's a lot of patterns to show that these guys are using Conqueror's Haki coating, but some people still might not truly believe it. Zoro even confirms Oden using it. So these two characters, with their clashes with Kaido, kind of confirmed that they have Conqueror's Haki coating and puts them into elite level, in my opinion. Now, of course, after Zoro, it was Luffy on the rooftop just spamming it after getting hit with that Ragnarok. The 3 Conquerors, well, Ragnarok, that kind of looks like a foreshadowing to the 3 worlds in the Harley text. Luffy just spamming Conqueror's Haki coating, and he's fighting Kaido in his base 1v1 when it took Luffy going all out with Armor Haki, Advanced Armor Haki in his Gear 4th to actually put some damage to Kaido earlier. Now he's in Conqueror's Haki coating mode, just knocking Kaido down to the ground and like easily dealing with him. So yeah, you could start to see that Oda really wanted to harp it on this being the new power to make you a legit fighter in the top tier. Right after Luffy's doing this, I think it was like one chapter after or one episode after, Big Mom does a Conqueror's Haki coating punch to page 1. Now, we've seen Big Mom in the entire Hokage Island arc and in Wano. For Oda to show it right after the rooftop shows that Oda's been holding back on highlighting Conqueror's Haki coating. So for Big Mom to do it was like Oda saying, yeah, she has it too. She's a top tier in the series, and every top tier needs to have it. If I'm being completely honest, Yamato having Conqueror's Haki coating was a complete surprise to me because, yes, Yamato is a mythical Zoan user and daughter of Kaido, and like she has the genetics to be very strong. But when she brought out that Conqueror's Haki coating, and we seen a preview of her using as a kid Conqueror's Haki with the samurai, it really showed that like, okay, Oda really wants to take it to the next level with this moveset. Like, Oda's not picking and choosing who he wants to have it. And Yamato fought Kaido 1v1 with this Conqueror's Haki coating, definitely legitimized Yamato's power and strength. And Yamato kind of relate Yamato to Loki, if I'm being completely honest. Then there's Silver's Rayleigh. Silver's Rayleigh having Conqueror's Haki coating when he went up against Blackbeard after Wano was kind of not, it wasn't really a shock because he taught Luffy the basics of Haki, and he was the prime vice cap. In his prime, he was vice captain to Roger, who literally is the pinnacle of Haki. Haki transcends all. So it wasn't surprising when he pulled out that sword leaking a Conqueror's Haki coating. I think if anyone was surprised, they shouldn't have been. Like, Blackbeard left because of his reputation, but even Rayleigh knew that I probably wouldn't be able to beat Blackbeard. Now, really knowing that makes me think, is it because of Blackbeard's basic Haki and his armor, his Gorosei no Mi and Yami Yami no Mi? Yami Yami no Mi, yes, it's still going to be effective against Rayleigh, but not as much because Rayleigh doesn't have a Delta Fruit. The Gorosei no Mi is going to be the real game changer against the world's strongest Not the world's strongest paramecia. But that makes me think, does really know something that we don't? Does Blackbeard actually have immense Haki that we don't know about? Because he did comment on Luffy's Haki pre-time skip, so yeah, I don't know, but I think Rayleigh with Kankasaki coding and the whole Blackbeard moment is really a good discussion that might even need a separate video, honestly. And then of course there's Shanks. Shanks using Kankasaki coding was not a shock. He's the Haki man before he even used Kankasaki coding, from him scaring an admiral by not even being on the island of Wano, to clashing with Whitebeard early in the series. First ever guy to ever use Kankasaki in the story. So when he used Divine Departure on Kid, it wasn't really a shock. And honestly, one of the greatest Kankasaki coding feats in the entire series. It was Roger level. It was a Roger level move. And you saw what Dorian Bragi said about Shanks Haki. Like, do I need to say more? And then there's Garp. Garp was really a shocker when it comes to him using Kankasaki coding. Not to me, but to fans, because they're like, oh, wait, Garp has it? We seen him Marine Ford. We seen him at his lobby. So he was holding back really a lot. Yes, I'm thinking, yes, he's older. He doesn't really need to use Kankasaki coding to a lot of the opponents he's fighting. But when he's going to Blackbeard's territory, Yonko's territory, you're not going to pull to a Yonko's territory, and you're not going to use your strongest moves. I knew he was going to go there with Galaxy Impact with Kankasaki coding and really leave a mark on this fight without. He's fighting a former admiral in Aokiji. Of course he's going to use Kankasaki coding the same way that Luffy was using it when he was fighting Kizaru. Now, of course, the Gorosei got into an Egghead Island, and if they're using Kankasaki coding, it's very vague, because we know that pretty much all the Gorosei are pretty much confirmed to be Kankasaki users. They're Imu's strongest assets when it comes to their powers and abilities, serving directly under Imu. Saturn used Kankasaki. Mars looked to use it when he was penetrating the Labo phase. It looked to be Kankasaki coding, and Jinbei was really scared of the Haki, so that's why I think it was, but it really wasn't confirmed. And then Worker used a Kankasaki roar that pretty much made Gear 5th Luffy look like Looney Tunes in that situation. And Luffy's Gear 5th Kankasaki coding attacks were not really penetrating Workeru, so it looks like they're using Kankasaki coding, but there's now no confirmation, so I can't really talk much about it, but I can give you guys a little like hint of like they probably do have it, if I'm being completely honest. Then of course later in Egghead Island is the Joy Boy stored up Haki. He said it was the strongest Haki, and honestly the way Dory Broggy were talking about, saying it was more than Shanks, is probably the strongest Haki in the series. So if Joy Boy, who has the strongest Haki in the series, went up against Imu in the Void Sentry, Joy Boy has so much lore. He most likely has Kankasaki coding because Roger and Luffy have it, so Joy Boy is definitely gonna have it. And this stored up Haki was just another example of like, yes, it's like when Shanks used the Kankasaki against Green Bull. Like, yes, Shanks never used Kankasaki coding at this point, but we all knew it was gonna be a thing. Other characters like Sengoku, the Fleet Admiral, probably has Kankasaki coding because Big Mom has it. Like, Big Mom has it Kankasaki coding. Sengoku probably has it with his Mythical Zone Devil Fruit. He was confirmed to be a Kankasaki user early in the story, so he probably has it. It's just that Oda hasn't shown it yet. He's probably gonna show it in a flashback when they're battling back in the days and Roger days and Whitebeard Shiki. Those days, Sengoku's gonna be shown to use Kankasaki coding. But right now in the current story, I don't think Oda's really that focused on showing it right now. Then we have some potential future Kankasaki coding users. I think Doflamingo definitely has a strong case, because Doflamingo and Dressrosa, people have to understand, he had strong observation Haki. He had strong armor Haki, and he had strong Kankasaki. He just didn't have the coding, and he didn't have like, it's kind of like he had the strong basic foundation. Like, Luffy trained with Rayleigh, training all three types of Haki, and when he got to I believe Dressrosa, in his base form, his Haki wasn't matching up to Doflamingo. Doflamingo's Haki was so good that Law couldn't cut him the same way that Law cut Virgo. So yeah, Doflamingo has incredible Haki. He just hasn't reached that next level. I think Doflamingo is a good candidate if he comes out of Impel Down to obtain Kankasaki coding, advanced armor Haki, future sight. He can attain these things, but it all depends if Oda wants to give him that crazy power buff, the same way he's giving Crocodile power buff in Cross Guild. Then there's Katakuri. Katakuri honestly is another case of his Haki is insane, because Luffy, coming off of Dressrosa and a Cracker win, goes to fight Katakuri, and Katakuri's armor Haki is stronger. He says that his own mouth that his armor Haki is stronger. He's Kankasaki clashing with Luffy. He has future sight, so he already has the advanced level of observation Haki, and his armor Haki looks to be very close to reaching that advanced level as well when it comes to his Trident Morgul when he did that one attack which penetrated the wall. So I could see Katakuri getting it, and the fact that he's not, his captain is now down and he's the vice captain, he probably can take over the Big Mom Pirates. And if you're gonna take over the Big Mom Pirates, you need that Kankasaki coding, in my opinion. So yeah, I think he's definitely a strong candidate, which is why I'm not gonna include Marco in this, because Marco's kind of retired. So like, Marco could have been a strong candidate if he continued his pirate journey after Whitebeard fell, but he kind of lost the fun of it. When it comes to Whitebeard's crew, is more like a family thing. It's not really like a pirate thing if you think about it. And then there's Eustace Kid. Now Eustace Kid gets laughed at a lot. but he did have the same thing that Luffy had. He got destroyed by Conqueror's Haki coding by Kaido, got locked up in prison in Udon. Then again, he gets destroyed by Shanks' Conqueror's Haki Divine Departure. Now, if you remember, Luffy got hit by 2 Conqueror's Haki coding moves before he learned it. It was the Thunder Bagua and the 3 Conquerors Ragnarok that Kaido did. Same thing just happened to Kid. He got hit with Thunder Bagua probably by Kaido, and he just got hit by Divine Departure. And he dealt with Big Mom a little bit with her Conqueror's Haki coding, because we saw that Usopp mentioned that she was using Conqueror's Haki on the 3rd floor. So that's a thing. And he's on Elbaf. He's gonna be a relevant character on Elbaf. He could, and he's one of Luffy's rivals. He probably could get Conqueror's Haki coding. The thing with Kid is he has to use Conqueror's Haki in the manga. He still has never used Conqueror's Haki in the manga. He has an anime, but not in the manga. So like Kaido kind of confirmed in the manga, but like, come on, we want to see it. We're One Piece fans. We want to see it. We don't want to hear about it. And lastly, there's Blackbeard. I think Blackbeard is like the one where like everybody already assumes he has Conqueror's Haki, but Oda has never shown it. Like just recently after Wano, Oda finally shown him using Arm and Haki to stop the Seraphim, to show that he has incredibly strong Arm Haki. But we all kind of assumed, because he's with Whitebeard all these days, he could have been 2nd Division Commander without the Yami Yami no Mi. Almost broke Ace's neck with 1 punch. His Haki, he was commenting on Luffy's Haki re-time skip multiple times. Like honestly, Blackbeard is a guy who we think is gonna have it, but he just hasn't shown it yet. And there's been theories of him using it a little bit against Law, but nothing's been confirmed yet. I think Oda purposely didn't show us that fight compared to Shanks and Kid, because Oda wants to save Blackbeard's Conqueror's Haki to when he's actually fighting Luffy. So I get where Oda's, or when he's fighting Shanks. How are you gonna go against Shanks with Yami Yami no Mi, Gurgur no Mi, and no Conqueror's Haki coding against the strongest Haki guy right now in the current story in Shanks? So Blackbeard is gonna get it. He has it, I believe, right now, but Oda's just saving it. And that's just my opinion. If you disagree, just debate in the comments. So I just talked about all these potential Conqueror's Haki coding users and the ones who actually have it. And you're probably thinking, why are you getting so sidetracked? Well, the reason is because Loki is the main topic, and only Shanks was able to stop this man, take down this guy. Scopper confirmed this. Scopper is incredibly powerful. So for him to say this, with King Harold being there, Ja Rule, and Scopper and they weren't able to do it, but Shanks was. And I think Loki had to have Conqueror's Haki coding, since this is what made Shanks a Yonko 6 years ago, taking down Loki. And the Holy Knights want him as well. His bounty's 2.6 billion berries. Honestly, this is going to be insane. And I personally believe that if he's able to take down Big Mom, if Big Mom comes to Elbaf and Loki takes her down, like Big Mom wanted Loki so badly because that would have made her Pirate King status in her mind. This Loki, even though Loki's probably going to betray her, if I'm being honest, it comes with his character. So I do want Loki to smoke Big Mom and prove that he is a top tier, top 10 character in the story, and legitimize his power. And the only way he can do that is Conqueror's Haki coding, because it's going to be a 1v1. If you're in a 1v1 Big Mom, you need Conqueror's Haki coding. Like 2v1, you can have 2 awakened guys like Kid and Law, but them, even with their awakened, they still didn't actually defeat. It took the explosion added onto their awakening to actually defeat Big Mom. So yeah, Loki probably has Conqueror's Haki coding. It's probably gonna be confirmed, and people are underestimating his power, just like the underestimating Kaido, which I have a video on that coming in the future. The turn notification, because I have crazy content as well. And debate in the comments if you disagree, but I think Loki has it, guys. Come on.